Hi guys, I'm Archie Luxury, and today I want to review an entry-level Swiss watch. Now, before I begin this video, many of you punters out there would know the cheapest Swiss watch is a Swatch. But let's take it up a notch. I mean, that's just the Swatch watch is a cheap, nasty stocking filler of a watch which you buy as you're rushing through an airport and you've got a credit to spend before your plane boards. So let's look at where does Swiss watches start at. And to answer that, I've come up with two brands that really start off as the basic Swiss watch. These two brands are Tissot and ARCHIE'S. For today's video, we're going to be reviewing a Tissot. That's right, we're going to be reviewing a Tissot automatic sports watch. And this here is quite an interesting watch itself there. This is the PRS 516. Let me get my glasses out. Let's have a look there, Archie. Let's have a look. It's the Tissot. Yes, that's right. The PRS 516. So let's look at our review here. So this particular Tissot here, I purchased from eBay. I bought it from eBay because I wanted to show the viewers what you can get. This is a couple years old and it's in relatively good condition. The beautiful thing about this watch is it's already been broken in by the previous owner. Now let's have a bit of a sticky beak at it. So it's a very, very modern watch. It's basically, one would say it's quite attractive. It's stainless steel. The metal is stainless steel. It also has a ceramic bezel. The bezel itself is ceramic. Now this watch itself here utilizes, it's basically a 2824 movement, which is a ETA type movement. Now the watch itself is fitted with a stainless steel bracelet. It's got a clasp, deployment clasp there, which is quite easy to use. And at the back of this watch here, we have got, look at this here, we've got a beautiful display back on this critter here. A beautiful display back. So this is kind of Swiss watchmaking at the cheap and nasty end. This is where it's a level above the Swatch watch. It's similarly, this watch is owned by Swatch Group. Swatch Group owns Omega, they own Breguet, and they also own Tissot. Tissot is one of their lower tier watches. So this watch here I bought on Fleabay for about 300 American dollars. And as I said, it's been road tested. It's already been worn in because I want to see one. It's no point buying a new car to road test. We want to buy one that's been used for a couple of years, lightly used, and report back on how does it hand up. Because that's a very important thing for our viewers there. So this watch itself there, it was also a boxed example. It had this rather attractive box, a box and papers piece. Box and papers piece. And it even had the warranty papers. It had the manual there. It had absolutely everything. This was a box, papers, wristwatch. So let's have a bit of a talk about this. Okay, so the wristwatch itself there, as I've mentioned, it's encased in a stainless steel case. Quite a good looking piece. It's got the trademark T second hand, the big second hand that is in red and ends in a T. Quite tastefully done, a quick set movement. Very, very tastefully done. It's quite a reasonable watch to change the time there. It basically, it doesn't have a screw down crown, I'm sorry. It pulls out and you can, first knock is for the quick set date and day. It's a day-date watch. And the second knock is to change the time. So it's quite an interesting piece in itself there. Very, very usable type piece. And gotta love this. I've just advanced it to tomorrow's date. Well, that's just too bad because I ain't winding the butt. It's always good with watches. Wind forward, never wind back. Remember that. So yeah, that's okay there. So we'll give it a bit of a shake. It's got an ETA movement. This is the machine that's in here. What do I think of it as far as, well, the movement goes? It's an ETA machine. That's a good workhorse. ETA is a very, very trusted and reliable movement. Different grade of ETA to high end, but all considered there. We've got a ceramic bezel. We've got an interesting steel case. I was disappointed to find the bezel is fixed. It's not a rotating bezel. The bezel is fixed, which I thought it was like a diver, but anyhow, the bezel is fixed. Okay, there we go. That's how it goes in the big world when we're big boys. I gotta tell you, I kind of find the styling of the case, it's kind of big and chunky, where it doesn't really need extra machining. It's kind of, I don't know how to put this, it's kind of done in a cheap sort of way there. It's big and chunky and clumsy, like it doesn't have oyster type lugs here. They're just standard lugs there, and underneath the finishing is kind of, I'd say it's rudimentary finishing there. The watch itself is attractive enough as it is, but it's got applied markers every 5 minutes. However, the Tissot name and printing is basically printed on the dial. It's not an applied Tissot logo there. As far as the crown goes, it's got the Tissot T on it there, which is, it's nice enough. Case, little bit on the cheap and nasty side. However, we do have a display back, and it has a steering wheel motif on top of the movement there. So yeah, best if we cover up the movement. A low grade ETA movement is really not worthy of exhibition. Then we move on to what is the bracelet like. So this is a stainless steel bracelet. And how is it? What is it like there? Well, the bracelet itself is easy enough to fit. It has a deployant clasp, which is relatively easy to open up there. It's basically press and it opens up. Easy to put on, and you're in business. You're in business. It actually feels quite comfortable. Tissot have gone to the trouble of actually having half links. These are full links, and there's also some half links on either end of the bracelet. So there is a bit of rudimentary adjustment one can master. The way the links come out, they look like oyster links, like a Rolex or a Tudor, but they are actually, in fact, tap links. So basically it's got an arrow there on the links itself, and you would tap the pin out, which is it's an old way of doing links. It's also rather cheap. It's a cheap and nasty method of changing links, because it inevitably, that pin after several executions becomes frayed, and it's not as friendly as, say, a lot of makers have now gone to a screw, where it's much easier to remove or add links. The finishing on the bracelet, to be completely frank and honest with you, the clasp looks like it came out of a generic cheap parts bin, and it really would not. This really shows you how cheap and nasty this watch is here. It's a nasty, vicious, cheap sort of clasp you'd expect from a $20 petrol station watch. It's rather nastily done. They've engraved Tissot on the back of the buckle there. Yes, kind of just very lightly etched in. The actual bracelet itself there, it does the job. It's rudimentary, but it is a bit on the nasty side. The finishing of the bracelet, well, polished matte top, polished sides, and matte underneath. It is quite nasty, vicious, and mean. The watch itself, it does have lugs where I kind of feel that you could easily fit in a NATO or a rubber strap, but it's kind of very nastily done. It's not cool. The case isn't like an oyster with nice flowing side lugs. No, they're kind of nasty, just big chunk of stainless lugs there. What is the fit and finish of the watch? Well, considering the price point, it's not terrible, but it does reflect the retail price. This watch here retails in Australia for about the $1,000 mark. That's about $700 American. So it is a very much a under $1,000 Swiss wristwatch. It's cheap and cheerful. That is the Tissot. It's cheap and cheerful. It's got a very big tie into motorsports, which probably the reason it ties into motorsports is because it doesn't have a screw-in crown, and it's only waterproof to 100 meters. We're not talking Rolex 100 meters, we're talking Tissot 100 meters, which means it's basically splash proof. What is it? How does it feel like as a piece? It feels bulky and clumsy. It feels the price point which this watch is. What do I think of it? What do I think of it indeed? Well, this is very clearly the cheapest sort of Swiss watch, ignoring the Swatch watches, which are just for tourists who are looking for stocking filler at Christmas time. This is kind of the entry-level Swiss timepiece. What do I think? How does it score? What do I think? Let's carry on with the packaging of this piece here. The watch comes with a very distinctive Tissot branded box. The box is quite clever in the sense that it looks like it's a bunch of Tissot books, so you could put this on the bookshelf to fool people that you actually do own books. The watch box itself there, very, it's okay how it's done. Very, very gimmicky. Very, how would you put this? It's kind of, it's Tissot. What does happen is, from the back of this bookshelf here, a couple of the books actually come out themselves. There is a very nice book here, which basically ties into the motorsport theme. Because you've bought into Swiss watchmaking at its finest, it gives you a bit of a rundown on the models and how cool you are. And yeah, it's kind of, you know, that's the sort of women you could get by wearing a Tissot. Woo! Wowzers! Yeah, the sort of guys who wear these sort of things are poor Asian people who can't afford a Rolex or an Omega. So it's very much an aspirational curve watch. There's another book here, The History of a Watch Company. This is the story of Tissot, and it basically covers. It's just basically the quality of the pages, very inexpensive. This is very much a poor man's printing press. It's very much a budget-based book. This is very much a budget-based. If we open up the box itself, the nastiness continues. The watch itself sits on a pillow, which has some hooks here, some pouches which hook in here. There is side access that gives you the manual and papers. The papers itself, it's done on cardboard, very, very cheap, nasty sort of way to do this. And the other side here, the other side has its international warranty of service centers. The box itself is cheerful enough, but it's really done on the budget end. This is a cheap and cheerful, nasty bit of literature there. It is very, I'm sorry to say this, it is nasty. It is very, very nasty. This is a nasty way to present this. And to be completely frank and honest with you, I don't know whether it's not quality. This is just cheap and nasty, cheap and cheerful box from the Swiss there themselves. Okie dokie. So basically this watch is cheap and cheerful. It's the entry level rung. Okay, I know we've got Swatch, but Swatch is just cheap and cheerful for tourists. Okay, let's have a look at this watch here. How would I go there? Well, for the movement, we give it a 5. It is a Swiss ETA movement. This movement is basically used in many high-end, much more expensive Swiss timepieces. The case itself there, I think we'd also give that out of 10 a 5. The bracelet lets it down. We'll give it a 4. The dial, we'll give it a 5. And lastly, the overall impression of this watch, it's cheap and cheerful. Another 5. So if we add those scores up, we've got 24 out of 50. And that's basically where it is. It's entry-level Swiss. It doesn't pretend to be high-end horology. It's cheap and cheerful. It's a bit nasty. It is nasty. And, yeah. Spend a bit more, guys. You really do get what you pay for. I'm Archie Luxury reviewing the Tissot PRS 516. Tell me what you guys think of that. Hi guys, Archie Luxury channel. Guys, I want to talk to you today. It's very, very important. Men cannot live on Google ads alone. I depend on your support to keep me on YouTube full time. Guys, there's a number of ways you can help me stay on YouTube producing content. Number 1, you can organize a paid review. That's right. I will make a video for US $20 minimum, and I will review your collection. I'll answer a question for you. So, you know, normally takes, about 14 days, 10 to 14 days for me to make these vids. The other thing you could do to sponsor me and help me stay full-time on YouTube is sponsor me on Patreon. Patreon allows you to pay a small amount of money, like $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, anything, any amount you want over $1, you can, and it basically sends $1 each month to me. Now, you can cancel at any time if you're sick of the show or you don't like me anymore. So guys, help keep me full-time on YouTube. Paid reviews, I do sponsor me on Patreon, and Patreon people get advanced screening of some videos and secret videos. Not to mention I got advertising space on the fridge. Come on guys, keep me full-time on YouTube.
Okay.